Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. We got a long one in today. We got spoilers, and geez, we got a lot of them. I'm going to try not to cover the ones I've already covered, but boy, it's going to be a rough one. Don't forget to subscribe. It's free, and it helps support the channel. Links in the description. Let's get on this because we're going to get a 30-minute here probably. So here we go, Thunder Junction leaks. All right, we're going to start off with special guest cards. Special guests in this set so far, we have Scape Shift. And that's looking good. We have a Notion Thief, which, to be honest, is a good place for him. I think I can see this. Desertion gets a reprint finally. That's pretty nice. Commander players are going to love this one. We also have Morbid Opportunist. Interesting reprint. I don't know why it's a rare / mythic, but whatever. Moving on, we have good old Mystic Snake. I haven't seen this guy in a while, but gotta admit, digging the art. All right, next special guest we have good old Desert. That's right, you thought Arabian Nights was safe. You're wrong. So, yep, as for colorless, comes into play 1 damage to, or you tap it, deal 1 damage, target attacking creature. It makes me sad to see him reprint this, but, I mean, it's only $1 anyway, whatever. Next we have Port Razor. 2 red and 3 for a 4/4, deals combat damage, you get to untap, all that good jazz. Interesting reprint. I don't think it sees a lot of play, but the picture's cool. And then Brazen Borrower. Look at this sweet art. Not only is this card expensive, but this art is phenomenal. So this is definitely going to be on my list to maybe pick up a playset, just saying, because it does look good. All right, the last one we have is Stoneforge Mystic. It gets a reprint. It's been reprinted several times, although, not going to lie, she's looking good. I mean the card. I definitely mean the card, nothing else. And then finally, we'll get into some Vault cards. We have Ultec Matter Weaver. This is a relatively new card from Ixalan. I don't know why they reprinted it already, I believe. We have Vault-Born Tyrant, 2 green and 5, 6/6 Trampler. Whenever it or another creature power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and draw a card. When it dies, if it's not a token, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's an artifact in addition to other types. I mean, good for Commander, but honestly, doesn't see any play. Next, we have a Torpor Orb reprint. That's right. It's back. It's bad, and people hate to see it. So 2 colorless creatures entering the battlefield don't cause triggered abilities. This is something that people have been wanting for a while, and it's been very popular, and it's nice to see it get reprinted because, you know, cards can't be worth money. Transmutation font. This one's okay. 5 colors. Create a, choice of blood, clue, or food token. Sacrifice 3 of them. Search the library for an artifact card. Put it on the battlefield. I mean, it's fine for Commander, I guess. Now, into the actual set. We have an Intimidation campaign. Blue, black, and 1 enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses a life, you gain a life, and you draw a card. Whenever you commit a crime, you may return it to your hand. So this is very much like the card, very similar to this. Same casting cost and everything, except it was Surveil. And whenever you surveilled, it came to your hand. So that saw play a lot in Standard, definitely in Limited, and I'm sure this will as well. Next, we have Marauding Sphinx, 2 blue and 3 for a 3/5 flyer with Flying, Vigilance, and a Ward 2. Whenever you commit a crime, Surveil 2 only triggers once each turn. Still pretty sweet, not gonna lie. Probably only good and limited, but hey, it's not bad. Next, we have Double Down, blue and 3. Whenever you cast an Outlaw spell, copy that spell. So a new way to make tokens and copies. Outlaws are assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, warlocks. And they become permanent tokens. So, yeah, this is going to be expensive. Next, we have the good old Lazav himself, Familiar Stranger. Kind of like my dad when I was younger. Anyway, blue and black and 1 for a 1/4. Whenever you commit a crime, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on him. You may then exile a card from a graveyard. If it's a creature card, you may have Lazav turn to a copy of it. Only triggers once each turn. This is pretty cool in a deck that targets your opponent, and you can manage to kill one of their big spells. I don't know if it's going to see a lot of play, but in Standard, it could be good, depending on what kind of decks. I mean, currently you've got Atraxa and a lot of other crap running around. This might be pretty good. Next, we have Form a Posse. White, red, and X sorcery. Create X 1/1 red mercenary creature tokens with tap. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 in a turn. Activate that only as a sorcery. I mean, it's no Settle the Waste, but it might be okay. Doubtful. Good for limited. We have Rakish Crew. Look, the whole gang's here, guys. Black and 2 enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 red mercenary token, which gives +1 when it taps, yada, yada, yada. Whenever an outlaw you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks are outlaws. So, I don't know if this is going to make for a new kind of aristocrats deck, maybe in standard. I don't know off the top of my head. This might be good in the old decks. I don't remember all the creature types, but it seems like that's what those are. Anyway, we have the Trained Arnix, a white and 1 for a 3/1. Whenever it attacks while saddled, it gains first strike to the end of turn. And you can scry 1. Saddles for 2, which means tap any number of creatures you control with power 2 or greater. The mount becomes saddled to the end of turn. Only works as a sorcery. Because this is a sorcery, it's not like equipping. So, but in limited, it'd be pretty good because a 3/1 first striker is pretty boss. Jolene. Anyway, plundering pugilist who just knocks somebody out of their boots. Anyway, green, red, and 1 for this 4/2. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, power 4 or greater, create a treasure token, i.e., 4/2. Red and 1, sacrifice a treasure, deals 1 damage to any target. It's probably just good for limited. Still kind of cool. Saturo, the Infiltrator. Oh, Sardi's back. Look at that. Boy, man, there we go. God, good lord. Buttons don't work. All right. Black and blue for a 2/3 with menace. Whenever the Infiltrator and or 1 or more other non-token creatures enter the battlefield under your control, if none of them were cast or no mana were spent to cast them, draw a card. I mean, he's got menace. It's 2/3. It's fine. I don't know. I mean, limited, it's fine. 2/3 for 2. I just don't know how much that. Well, okay. So if you have the plot, the new ability for plot, which we'll see later, I'll go ahead and tell you now, is if you plot something, you can cast it without paying its mana cost whenever you want. So technically, if you plot all your cards, you can draw cards off of them. The problem with plotting your cards is you can't cast them the same turn. You have to wait. But that might be okay. So I think it's going to be a good card. Next, we have good old Path to Exile. This is a great reprint. Can't wait to see the other cards. Good old Grindstone's back. For those of you who don't know, 1 colorless, 3 and tap. Target player mills 2 cards until they mill 2 cards that are not the same color. You just repeat the process of milling 2 cards. If the 2 cards share a color, you keep milling. So, good way to kill somebody. Dust Bowl, hello. Tap for a colorless 3, tap, sacrifice a land, destroy target non-basic land. Not real popular, but gotta admit the art's pretty sweet. Oko, Thief of Crowns reprint. I like how they got the reindeer and he's posing like he would normally, although the picture does not do him justice like his old sexy picture did. And also, I like to put out, since you can get this in a pack, someone's going to have this in limited, and it's going to be just busted. Jesus. But whatever. We'll just, whoever gets this gets to win the tournament, whatever. All right, moving on. Mana Drain has been reprinted in a standard set. What the? So, yeah, counter target spell for 2 blue, and then get that much colorless beginning your next turn. Wow, can't have it in, D&D, but we'll put it in Thunder Junction. Buttholes. Anyway. We have Clear Shot, not the best thing in the world. Green and 2. Target creature gets +1/+0. Deals damage equal to its power. Target creature. It's an uncommon. It's whatever. I do like the gun. Just going to point that out there. All right, back to the set. We have the Key to the Vault. Blue and 1. Legendary Artifact Equipment. Whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may exile an online card from among them. Rest on the bottom in a random order. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. Equips for 3. That seems way too good, especially for limited, especially for a rare. But hey, this is where we are right now, because you're going to see some cards later that are going to make you go, what? So next, we have the Ruthless Lawbringer, black, white, and 1 for this 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target non-land permanent. My lord, is that good. A 3/2 for 3 mana that destroys anything on the field as long as you sack a creature. But you have to sacrifice another creature. So, but hey, I hear red black tokens is a thing, if I remember correctly. Next, we have Frontier Seeker, a white and 1 for a 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a mount creature card or a plains card from among them. Put it in your hand. Rest on the bottom in random order. 2/1 for 2 is fine. 2/1 for 2 that lets you get a plains or a creature out of your deck is even better. This is going to be a limited and probably standard all-star. Not even lying. Next, we have Honest Roostin. I don't know how this guy's honest, but we'll go with it. Black, green, and 1 for a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Yeah, that seems that seems fine. It's only like, a different, better version of Eternal Witness, and that card was never busted or played 4 of in a deck. And who would want to play 4 of these and just, cycle 2 of them constantly, so there's always 1 in your hand, and, because it's legendary. And anyway, moving on. We'll just leave that there. All right, next we have Scorching Shot. 2 red for 5 damage to target creatures as a sorcery. Yes, it's a sorcery. Yes, it's 2 red. However, yes, it's 5 damage. You're killing damn near anything. This is going to be probably some premier removal in Limited. Now, the only other place it could be good is Standard, but because it only targets creatures, I don't see, maybe Sideboard, I just don't see it picking up. Anyway, it's the Holy Cow. The Ox Angel has arrived. A white and 2 for this 2/2 flash flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you can gain 2 life and scry 1. This thing's just incredible. I remember we used to pay 3 mana for a 2/1 flyer that let you draw a card and gain 1 life. That was a sorcery. This one has flash. This is 2/2. It gains you 2 life and lets you scry 1. That's probably better. And it's a common, so hello, Popper. Anyway, moving on. Next, we have the Armored Armadillo. 1 white for an 0/4. Has ward 1. A white and 3. It gets +X/+0 in a turn where X is its toughness. Jesus. Great for Limited. Next, we have the Rattleback Apothecary. Black and 2 for a 3/2 Death Toucher. Whenever you commit a crime, target creature you control gains your choice of menace or lifelink to end of turn. Not real hot, but I'm sure it's probably fine and Limited. The Quilled Charger is a red and 3 for a 4/3. Whenever it attacks while saddled, it gets +1/+2, becomes a 5/5, and gains menace. Jesus. And it only saddles for 2. Thank God there's some balance. This common is going to be a just devastating card in Limited. And hell, this might see Standard player for 4 mana if you can make it a 5. Probably not, but it feels like it should. I'm just going to put that out there. All right, moving on, we have Make Your Own Luck. A blue, green, and 3. Sorcery, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may exile a non-land card from among them. If you do, it becomes plotted. Put the rest into your hand. Now, you may cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. Is this really just a 5 mana sorcery collective company for anything? It says as a sorcery, so it makes me wonder if you can cast creature cards with this, because if you can, Trax is already a problem. We don't need more of this. But we'll wait and see, and I'm going to pray that you can't cast Atraxa with that. Anyway, who cares about Atraxa when you can get a Colossal Rattleworm for 2 green and 2, you get a 6/5. I remember 2 green and 2 gets you a 4/4. Jesus. What's the drawback? Well, the drawback is if you control a desert, it has flash and it has trample. That's big drawback. Oh, wait, there's something else. For green and 1, you can exile it from your graveyard to search your library for a desert card and put it into play tapped. Still looking for the downside here. Yeah, there's going to be a green deck in Standard, and it's going to be playing 4 of these things, and it's going to be hard to deal with, to say the least. Next, we have Catactarantula. Can't believe I got that right the first try. 2 green and 4 for a 6/5. Costs 1 less to cast if you control a desert. 5 mana, 6/5 with reach. Fine. Whenever it becomes target spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. Jesus Christ, this is a common? Desert decks might be a thing, especially green desert decks. Yeah, powerful card for Limited. Powerful. Next, we have the Vile Smasher, Gleeful Grenader. Red and black for a 3/2. Whenever another outlaw enters the battlefield under your control, this thing deals 1 damage to target opponent. That's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Next, we have Chrome Violent Cacophony. Good lord, these names. Red, blue, and 2 for a 2/3 flyer. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw. Great for limited. This thing's gonna get out of hand real quick. And also probably Commander. Just gonna put that out there. Next, we have the Slick Shot Lockpicker, blue and 2 for a 2/3. Whenever it enters the battlefield, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback to end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. It has plot 3. So for 3 mana, here's where you can see what plot does. It says you may pay a blue and 2 and exile this card from your hand. Cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. Plot only as a sorcery. All right, so that answers that question. That 5 mana spell can cast creatures, so thanks, Wizards. Damn it. Oh, God, it's going to get out of hand quick in Standard. But this thing's going to be amazing. Plot it on 1 turn for 3, and then the next turn, just put it into play, get something out of your graveyard, or just leave it until you want to cast something. This is good. We're just going to say it's good. All right, next we have Playing the Heist. 2 blue and 2. Surveil 3 if you have no cards in hand, then draw 3 cards. Wow. Thank God it's a sorcery, but wait, there's more. You can plot it for a blue and 3, so you can, put it off to the side and wait till your hand's empty, and then cast it to draw cards. That's going to be played. Next, we have An Unfortunate Accident. Sure it is. So, we have a black card. It's instant, and it has something called Spree, which means you can choose 1 or more additional costs. So, for every time you pay the next cost, you get that ability. So, if you pay a black and 2 colorless extra, plus the 1 black, 4 mana, you get to destroy a creature. If you add 1 colorless, you get to create a 1/1 red mercenary, which taps to make +1/+0 only as a sorcery. So, for 5 mana, you get a 1/1 dude and kill a creature. Or I guess you could technically cast it for 1 black and get nothing. It says choose 1 or more. Okay, so you can't cast it for 1 black. However, the mana cost is 1, which may mean something when it comes to counterspells. Next, we have Bovine Intervention. White and 1. Instant, destroy target artifact or creatures. Controller takes a 2/2 white Ox creature token. This is going to be premier removal for limited. Probably not so much for standard. There's a lot better ways to kill things without giving your opponent 2/2s, which is probably the biggest thing that you're going to kill is. Anyway, we have Final Showdown Mythic. This thing's incredible. 1 white. It's an instant with Spree. For +1 colorless, you get all creatures loses all abilities at the end of turn. Or for +1 colorless, choose a target creature you control that gains indestructible. For 2 white and 3, you destroy all creatures. This is going to be a Commander All-Star. This is a Instant Wrath for 4. And, Instant Wrath for 6. And if you have 1 extra mana, one of your creatures gains indestructible. And if your opponent's creatures have indestructible, for that extra mana, you can make their stuff not indestructible. This is going to be a powerful card and worth some money. Next, we have Gissa the Hellraiser. 2 black and 3 for this 4/4 with Ward 2 and Pay 2 life. Good God. Skeletons and zombies you control gain +1/+1 and have menace. Here's our zombie lord. Skeleton lord. Zombie. Anyway. Whenever you commit a crime, create 2 tap 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature tokens. This ability triggers only once each turn. Good God. So there's going to be decks built around this girl. 5 mana, so it's not going to get in the way of Shieldred. So there's going to be a whole new kind of black deck floating around. I'm just going to put that out there. Because now, all those discard spells that suck when your opponent has no cards in hands now make you 2/2 zombies. Even if they have nothing in their hand, because you have targeted your opponent. Putting it out there. Next, we have Great Train Heist. A red instant with Spree. For a red and 2, untap all creatures you control. If it's your combat phase, there is an additional combat after this one. For just 2 colorless, creatures you control get +1/+0, gain first strike. Or for 1 red, choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that player, create a tapped treasure. So 4, 6. So 7 mana will get you it all. But however, probably 4 mana is going to be good enough. Extra combat phases and give your creatures +1/+0 with 2 combat phases and first strike. This is going to be ugly. This is probably going to be a commander card and probably going to see some standard and definitely limited play. Tiny Bones joins up. So we got all kinds of new legendary enchantments of the creatures from Magic joining up. This one is Tiny Bones, and for 1 black, a legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, any number of target players each discard a card. Whenever a legendary creature enters a battlefield under your control, any number of target players each mill a card and lose a life. This is going to be really good because this is going to commit a crime on somebody. Yeah, this is going to be a good card. You're going to see a lot of play on this. Next, we have Slick Shot Show Off. I almost said Slick Snot. Red and 1 for a 1/2 flying haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +2/+0 to end of turn. Kind of has super prowess. Plus, it has plot, so you don't want to cast it right away. You want to tuck it away for later, you can, but this is a good card. 1/2 flyer with haste. Gets big quick. Red Rush is getting better. Next, we have Magda, the Horde Master. All right, red and 1 for a 2/2. Already a little better than what she was before. Whenever you commit a crime, create a trapped treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Thank God. Now, sacrifice 3 treasures, create a 4/4 red scorpion dragon creature token with flying and haste. So, this is also a dwarf. Great for commander when you have Magna as your commander, because then you have 2 Magnas. They both make treasure tokens constantly. You start making 4/4s with haste constantly. Yeah, this is going to be a popular card. I'm just going to put that out there. And also, in a Red Rush deck, like, this just does the things that you want it to do. And you're playing Red Rush, so you're probably going to, zap somebody in the head, target their stuff. Red decks are getting strong. Great. Everything's getting strong. It's going to be a good time. We have the Gitrog, Ravenous Ride Tide. The Frogman's back. Green, black, and 3 for a 6/5 trampling haste. Good God. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that saddled it this turn. If you do, draw X cards, then put X lands cards from your hand on the battlefield tapped, where X is a sacrifice creature's power. You can saddle it for 1. God, that seems good. Especially in decks with lots of tokens. Regardless, it's a 5-mana, 6/5 trampling haster. Just beats face. Anyway. All right, let's keep going. We got more to go. We have Annie Flash, the Veteran. White, green, red, and 3 colorless for a 4/5 flash. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return target permanent card, mana 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Whenever Annie Flash becomes tapped, exile top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. This is really good and really expensive. This is more like a commander card to me. There'll be some great commander decks built around this, and this will be played in some great commander decks. Probably definitely a limited all-star, as long as you don't mill yourself to death. But yeah, seems pretty decent. Next, we have Jace Reawakened. Look at this bad boy. So here's the one you can't play on your first, second, or third turn. For 2 blue, you get a Planeswalker with 3 loyalty that says, +1, draw a card, then discard, or +1, you may exile non-land card, mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted, i.e. cast it for free next turn, or on a different turn, i.e. counter spells. -6 till end of turn. Whenever you cast a spell, copy it, you may choose new targets for the copy. This is a very powerful card for a blue deck. Just going to put that out there. If you cast it on turn 4 and you have a counter spell, it's going to be protected. You can also plot a removal spell straight off of it, and then cast the removal spell on your opponent's turn. I also like how I'm getting the feel it looks like he's a different Planeswalker to start with. Does that make sense? You can kind of see the horns and stuff. I don't really know what's going on. It's not Vraska. It's Ashiok, excuse me. Looks like he's Ashiok becoming Jace. I'm just really confused. I'm about to read some stories. Looks cool, though. Not going to lie. All right, next we have Rakdos the Muscle. Red, 2 black, and 2 for a 6/5 flying trampler. God, these cards are so beefy. I mean, by 5 more years, we're going to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, all these cards are going to have, like, 5,000 power and toughness. Anyway, whenever you sacrifice another creature, exile cards equal to its mana value from the top of target player's library. Until your next end step, you may play those cards, and mana of any type may be spent. Well, at least you're not free casting. Sacrifice another creature. Rakdos the Muscle gains indestructible in a turn. Tap it. Activate only once each turn. So you can sacrifice it to say Rakdos, mill your opponent, rinse, repeat, cast their stuff, sacrifice their creatures. Seems good. Seems really good. Obviously, limited All-Star, Commander staple, I believe. Yeah, maybe good in Standard. Vraska the Silencer. Not fond of how they've been drawing her. Not like this. Just me. Tell me down below what you think. Anyway, green, black, and 1 for a 3/3 Death Toucher. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return that card to the battlefield tapped under your control. It's a treasure artifact with tap. Sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color, and it loses all card types. That is interesting and a unique way, just say it, to mess with your opponent's graveyard so they can't get their stuff back. But yeah, this is, let's see how this plays out. Next we have Kellen the Kid. Blue, white, and green for a 3/3 flying lifelinker. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may cast a permanent spell with equal or less mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. This seems really powerful for limited, good for commander. I mean, if this is in Atraxa colors, so there may be some shenanigans to be had here to have this to cast stuff from other places to get free cast. It's going to be weird. We're going to go digging around for some shenanigans. Tell me down below what you think. Here's Vraska joins up. Black and green. Legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, put a death touch counter on a creature you control. Whenever legendary creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That seems good. Drawing cards is always great, and you've got a death toucher that they ain't blocking it. So, yeah. Next, we have Fortune Loyal Steed. White and 2 for a 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Whenever it attacks while saddled at the end of combat, exile it and up to 1 creature that saddled it this turn. Then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Good old blinky blinky. But also that means it has to not die in combat. So, not that impressed. However, if you manage to swing with this and they can't block it, shenanigans abound. Just, there we go. All right, next we have the Insatiable Arvaris. There, I said it. 1 black, sorcery with Spree. 2 colorless, search your library for a card, shuffle your library, put it on top. So we got a tutor, black and 3 for a tutor, not bad. For 3 black, target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. That alone to me is insane. This is going to see tons of play. It's going to be all over Commander, Limited. Maybe not Standard because Standard's really fast and either in Standard you're getting killed fast or killed in one swing from Big Nappy. So might not be the best thing, but the ability to search for cards and draw, this just seems too powerful to not be great. Next we have, that's right, Blooming Marsh. This is our land cycle for the set so far that are rare. So we get, Blooming Marsh enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. So we call these fast lands. And all 5 have already been shown, so no need to get panties in a bunch. Here they are. Not gonna lie, I do like the art. Not Concealed Courtyard. This is probably the coolest Concealed Courtyard art I've seen in a while. Botanical Sanctum, pretty sweet as well. Spot Buff Canal, not really digging it. I am digging the Inspiring Vantage though. But there you have it. There's our land cycle. Hooray! And then we have the normal common land cycle, which are land deserts that are duels that come into play tap and deal 1 damage to the opponent when they come in. There's 1 for every color, so just wait for it. Next, we have Escape Illusion. 1 white, instant Spree. So you add 1 colorless, exile target non-token creature. Beginning your next instep, return to the battlefield under its owner's control. Or +2, choose target creature. If there's no other creature with greater power than it, destroy that creature. So 4 mana, you can do the old blinky blinky on your guy, plus kill the opponent's creature. This seems really good for enter the battlefield effects and as a removal spell. This is going to be a very popular uncommon and limited, probably standard as well. Commander. Then we have Heath Rebirth, black, green, and 3 sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Return up to 1 target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So normally 5 mana will get you 1. This one's a 2-for. It's a buy 1, get 1 free. In limited, this is going to be insane. And in standard, we've already got weird shenanigans like this going on, getting back big nasties. This might be the next level of the get back to big nasty because you get 2. I mean, what's better than putting a Traxxer on the battlefield and putting a Traxxer and a Tali on the battlefield? That's what's better. This could get out of hand real quick. Just going to put that out there. Next, we have the new Haunt. Blue and 1 enchantment at the beginning of your end step. If you haven't cast a spell from your hand this turn, and the new Haunt isn't a creature, it becomes a 3/3 spirit creature token with flying in addition to other types. Blue and 2 Surveil. So this is really cool. 3/3 for 2. This is kind of like the enchantments that used to become creatures when somebody would cast a certain card type or ability, which could be very powerful. This seems powerful as well, especially with the ability to Surveil. We'll have to wait and see how it goes, but this does seem kind of good. I'm not going to lie. So there you have it, guys. 30 minutes, almost on the button, if I just stop jaw-jacking a little longer. Leaks have begun. The set looks stupid powerful. Just because of how the mana costs are, what you get from the cards. I mean, there's 4 and 5 mana cost creatures that are coming out with 6/5s and haste and all kinds of other silly shit. Looking to be a good set, looking to be a powerful set, especially with special guests and all the other special cards. We're already off to a very pricey start. So, until next time, be kind, and as always, hope to see you across from the game table. Well, at least the set has to do well, right? I mean, they're putting all kinds of good cards in it, right?